Friends, here is the first university examination on appreciating drama and theatre. Well, you are already familiar with many of the questions and their answers because they have already been discussed in our earlier videos, the model question paper 1 and the model question paper number 2. Well, as far as the question paper is concerned, here is the question paper on 2 pages and the answers have been prepared on 6 pages. Well, the question paper as well as the answers have been uploaded and the link is given down here. You can download the pages and take a printout and you can read the questions as well as the answers along with this video. Well friends, let's take a look at the questions and their answers. Question number 1. What are morality plays? Morality plays are allegorical dramas with moral lessons popular in the 15th and 16th centuries. That's the medieval period. The characters personify moral qualities such as charity or vice, that is evil, or abstractions such as death or youth. Question number 2. Who were known as the university wits? The university wits were the scholars who were fostered under the atmosphere of either Oxford or Cambridge. They wrote during the last 15 years of the 16th century. They included Christopher Marlowe, Robert Greene, Thomas Nash, Thomas Lodge, George Peele, and Thomas Kidd. Well, the first 3 were from Cambridge and the next 2 from Oxford, and the last one, Thomas Kidd, was not from either. Question number 3. Why does Rodrigo agree to kill Cassio? Iago tells Rodrigo that if he kills Cassio, Othello and Desdemona will have to stay in Cyprus longer. It would give Rodrigo time to make his moves on Desdemona and have her. Question number 4. Why did Smyrna have to wait so long to meet Popoa? Smyrna had to wait for Popoa because she was not in the mood to see anyone. She was still mourning her husband, Nikolai Mikhailovich. She wanted to express her enduring love for her husband by living a reclusive life. Question number 5. What did Jerry decide to do with the dog? Jerry tried to kill the dog with rat poison in hamburger meat. Question number 6. What are the 6 formative elements of a tragedy? The 6 formative elements of a tragedy are: number 1, plot; number 2, character; number 3, thought; number 4, diction; number 5, song; and number 6, spectacle. Question number 7. What was Brabantio's warning to Othello? Brabantio warned Othello that Desdemona had deceived her own father before. So, chances were she would deceive her husband as well. Question number 8. How is the stick related to the person on the roof? Remember, the person on the roof is a boy. The stick is the father of the boy who was standing on the roof. Question number 9. Define tragic comedy. A tragic comedy is a dramatic work that incorporates both tragic and comic elements. Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice is an example. Question number 10. What advice did Iago give Cassio to regain the favor of Othello? Iago advised Cassio to tell Desdemona his story and begged for forgiveness. She was kind and would listen and influence Othello. Question number 11. What are the characteristics of sentimental drama? Developed in the early 18th century, sentimental drama focuses on sentiment and sensibility and evokes an emotional response. A sense of morality and virtue governed them from beginning to end. The dialogues are neither severe nor sparkling. Question number 12. What reason does Jerry give for living in such unpleasant apartment. Jerry lives on the top floor of a 4-story building in one small room. That is actually half a room, separated from the other half by beaver board. He says he doesn't know why he lives there. He does not have a family either. Question number 13. Why does Smirnov need the money on the same day? He says he has got to pay the interest on his mortgage the following day. So he needs the money the same day. Question number 14. Which stage of life does the play The Man Who Turned Into a Stick represent? The play The Man Who Turned Into a Stick represents death. Question number 15. What does Peter do for a living? Peter has an executive position with a publishing house that publishes textbooks. He earns around $18,000 a year. Well, friends, now we come to section B, which is paragraph questions. There are 8 questions. You are asked to answer at least 5. You may also answer all the questions because there is a ceiling of 30 marks. Question number 16. Discuss the play The Bear as a Farce. Anton Chekhov's one-act play The Bear is a farce. A farce is a light-hearted comedy that centers around a hilarious plot. A story that makes people laugh. The play deals with the romantic advancement between 2 ridiculous characters, Mrs. Popo and Mr. Smirnov. Popo is a rich and proud but fake widow. She is visited by a self-righteous neighboring landlord and retiring army officer Smirnov in connection with a loan taken by her late husband. They engage in a verbal exchange, a heated exchange, and finally agree to fight a duel. Well, in the end, this ridiculous pair is found lovemaking and going to be married. The play is full of comic characters, situations and dialogues that evoke plenty of laughter. Chekhov's purpose is to satirize, to ridicule the hypocrisy of the Russian middle class. Question number 17. Character of Popo. Popo is a beautiful, young and fake widow. Her husband died 7 months ago. Popo has been mourning like a recluse for 7 months. She never enjoyed good relations with her husband, who used to betray her, who used to cheat her. She says to Luca, "Let his ghost see how well I love him." Her holier-than-thou attitude is farcical. Ill-mannered and rude, Popo starts a verbal fight and even a duel with a stranger like Smirnov. She calls him bear and boor. She is confused when Smirnov proposes to her, but decides favorably when she learns about his strong financial position. Her false courage, challenge to fight, confession of ignorance of shooting because she says she doesn't know how to shoot, and lessons in firing that end up in petty love scenes. Well, these are the right ingredients of a farcical character, the character that makes people laugh. Question number 18. The role of chorus in ancient Greek plays. Well, chorus was part of rituals, the religious temple rituals in ancient Greece. Then they became a part of the classical Greek tragedies. In the early days of Greek tragedies, there were only the choruses on stage. They consisted of goat-like satyrs. Well, remember, You can see the picture of a satyr. Well, in Greek mythology, satyrs were lustful, drunken, woodland gods represented as a man with a god's ears, head and tail and legs and horns and all those things. Well, you can see the picture. Here is a very harmless picture. You can search in the Google and you will come across very, very interesting pictures and images of these satyrs. So they were presented as attendants, servants of their master, the god Dionysus. They witnessed the suffering, death, and self-transformation of their master, the god. Later, actors were introduced to enact the event, actors instead of the satyrs. The chorus was reduced to the role of the commentators. In the Elizabethan plays, chorus was a single person. He spoke
prologue,
epilogue, and served as the playwright's medium for commentary on the plays, as well as for exposition of its subject, time, and setting. Question number 19. The theatre of the absurd. The theatre of the absurd is a term applied to the dramatic works of a group of European and American dramatists of the 1950s and the early 1960s. Adamov, Beckett, Samuel Beckett, Jennett, Ionesco, Pinter, and Albee are the most important, the most noticeable names among them. The term was originally coined, the term, the theatre of the absurd, was originally coined by Martin Esslin. The writers agreed with the existentialist philosopher Albert Camus' assessment that the human situation is essentially absurd. Absurd means without, devoid of purpose. There is no purpose, purposeless. They shared a pessimistic vision of humanity, struggling vainly, mankind is struggling vainly to find a purpose because there is no purpose and control its fate. So they are unable to control their fate. Humankind is left feeling hopeless, bewildered, and anxious. Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot is an example, a very good example. It portrays the absurdity of life and helplessness of the individual. Question number 20. The role of Emilia in Othello. Emilia, the ensign's wife, Iago's wife, becomes Desdemona's companion in Cyprus. Iago uses Emilia to arrange for a meeting between Cassio and her mistress. Emilia is present when Desdemona and Cassio confer, when they talk. She is present again when Desdemona urges Othello to receive the lieutenant. Emilia also finds Desdemona's handkerchief and hands it over to Iago. When questioned by Desdemona about the handkerchief, Emilia denies knowledge of it. She says, I don't know. After Othello talks angrily about the loss of handkerchief, Emilia attempts to comfort Desdemona. When questioned by Othello, she firmly states Desdemona's innocence. She accuses Othello of gross dishonesty leading to an unjust murder. When she hears about the handkerchief, she reveals her role, and Iago threatens and kills her at the first opportunity. Emilia dies singing Desdemona's willow song, speaking of her purity and love for Othello, lying alongside her mistress. Question number 21. Street theatre. Street theatre is a theatrical performance in outdoor public spaces without a specific paying audience. Public spaces like street corners, college and university campuses, and shopping centers are the venues of street theatre. Usually, a comparatively large number of people assemble to watch these plays. Street theatre is used as a vehicle for providing information on important issues like health and other social issues. It also conveys messages to the public. Political propaganda is one of the main agendas of the street theatre. Simple costumes, dance, mime, music, and loud voices are features of street theatre. Social and political activists choose street theatre as their favorite and the most effective medium for propagating their ideas. Question number 22. Theme of alienation in The Man Who Turned into a Stick. Alienation is a theme that runs through the play The Man Who Turned into a Stick. In Hippie Girl and Hippie Boy, it is specifically expressed by the girl when she declares that there is a generation gap between them and the man and the woman from hell. There is also a problem of communication between the father, that is a stick, and his son. Another form of alienation is the conflict between inner and outer realities. Man from hell believes that her emotions are a distraction and that she would learn to control or eliminate them. Question number 23. What does the zoo symbolize in the play? In Edward Albee's The Zoo Story, symbolism is part of the very fabric of the play. It is concerned with human isolation, that is alienation. The zoo constitutes the central symbol of the play. The world is a zoo with everyone separated by bars from everyone else. Men are separated not only from each other, but from their own basic animal nature as well. While Peter is separated from the animal in himself and others, Jerry is an animal who fights separation from the other animals. The zoo becomes an image of human isolation and absence of contact and communication. It is an apt and poignant symbol, a very, very powerful symbol. Friends, now we come to section C, which is essays. Well, remember there are 4 essay questions. You can answer any 2 questions. Each question carries 10 marks. Well, now the first essay question, question number 24. Discuss the use of humor and irony in the play, The Bear. Well, the answer has been prepared in 4 paragraphs. Look at paragraph number 1. Anton Chekhov's what I play, The Bear, is a light-hearted satire on the ways of the Russian aristocracy. It revolves around 3 characters: Mrs. Popov, a widow, Mr. Smirnov, a landowner, and Luka, a servant of Popov. It is a farcical comedy filled with humor and irony. Paragraph number 2. Popov is a rich and proud but fake widow whose husband died 7 months ago. She has been living like a recluse since then. She has cut herself off from the outside world. Luka, the servant, advises her that she should change her decision and start living. Since she is still young, she can attract many young people, but Popov remains unchanged. Paragraph number 3. Smirnov, another self-righteous, well, he believes he is better than anybody else, self-righteous, wealthy landowner, lives by borrowing and lending money. He had given 1200 rubles to Popo's late husband before the latter died. He enters Popo's house and demands the money at once. Popo tells him that she has no money at the moment and will pay when her manager comes back. But Smirnov refuses to leave her house until she pays money. Both Popo and Smirnov are unyielding, very, very stubborn. She calls him a coarse bear. Smirnov criticizes women in general. He calls women insincere, cruel, and vain. Popo, in turn, calls men cruel and faithless. She says her own late husband had illegal relations with many women. Smirnov and Popo angrily engage in a verbal duel to be followed by an actual duel. There is an ironic end when Popo and Smirnov are found in each other's arms, kissing each other. The play closes on a hilarious note, an end that makes everybody laugh. Now, we come to the last paragraph. Chekhov's play is full of comic characters, situations, and dialogues that evoke plenty of laughter. Much of the humor and irony comes from the characters who appear to be so enslaved by their emotions despite their loud protestations to the contrary. They say they are not like that, but they are slaves to emotions. Popo and Smirnov both claim that they are finished with love. Well, no more love, no more marriage, they say. Yet, ironically, they end up falling for each other. Humor and irony lies at the heart of this farcical comedy. Well, this is the essay. The second essay, question number 25. Shakespeare's use of soliloquies with special reference to Othello. Paragraph number 1. A soliloquy is a monologue addressed to oneself. There is only one character on the stage, nobody else. He speaks to himself. He thinks aloud. It is thoughts, thinking, spoken out loudly without addressing another person. The words that Shakespeare's characters speak when alone provide some of the most memorable moments in the plays. They display Shakespeare's poetic genius in all its richness. In Othello, the soliloquy serves many functions, like number 1, revelation of secrets. Secrets are revealed. Development of character and plot. Foreshadowing and dramatization. They tell us what is going to happen. Foreshadowing. And the addition of the poetic element at climactic points in the play, at climax. Paragraph number 2. In the play Othello, soliloquy is used mainly for the revelation of the secret plans and conspiracies of Iago. Iago soliloquizes 10 times. Each time, he plans how to destroy, how to disrupt the life and happiness of others. That is Iago. He says, I am not what I am. And his philosophy of life is the divinity of hell. Look at that. Look at the contradiction. The divinity of hell. This helps Shakespeare portray his character more easily. Paragraph number 3. Iago's soliloquies also serve the dramatic function. It would be rather difficult for the audience to understand the cunning designs and conspiracies of Iago if he was not made to speak out his thoughts aloud. The development of the plot becomes clearer when the manipulator Iago reveals his future plan of villainy. It enhances suspense and dramatic tension. Paragraph number 4. The soliloquy of Othello is highly poetic. It exposes the deeper private thoughts of the character, that is Othello. Othello soliloquizes just before he kills his wife. He says, "Put out the light," and then put out the light. Othello speaks again. "When I have plucked the rose, I cannot give it vital growth again. I will kill thee and love thee after." It expresses his complex state of mind and innermost feelings. The soliloquy also highlights the intricacy of having to murder his wife. And now the last paragraph. To sum up, that is to conclude, the soliloquy of Othello serves the dramatic functions such as revelation of secrets, development of character and plot, foreshadowing and dramatization, and the addition of the poetic element at climactic points in the play. The soliloquies reveal the devilish schemes in the mind of Iago and the storms in the mind of Othello. That's the essay. Now, essay question number 3. How does Akali come across as a film about memories and nostalgia? Paragraph number 1. The film Akali is an adaptation of The Glass Menagerie, which is a memory drama, a memory play by the American playwright Tennessee Williams. It opens with a glass figurine hanging in a car by which Neil and Kamala travel. Tom is talking to his wife about his intention to write a book on the life of his sister. He bids her farewell in the shipyard, and as he leaves, he sees a familiar face. It stirs a torrent of memories and nostalgia. Then he starts writing about his life story. This is paragraph number 1. Paragraph number 2. The actions of the film unfold through the nostalgic recollections of Neil. Dialogues and monologues are true to the original. However, there is some difference in the climax. In the play, Amanda accuses him of being a selfish dreamer, and Tom leaves slamming, shutting the door loudly. Tom delivers his passionate closing monologue as Amanda softly comforts Laura. He tells the audience that for all of the years since he left, he has been haunted by his sister's memory. He finishes by imploring his memory of Laura to blow out her candles. When Tom has finished speaking, Laura blows out the candle, which ends the play. Paragraph number 3. The familiar face which he saw at the beginning of the film was Freddie's. Freddie meets old Margaret, and then it is revealed that Rose was admitted to a mental hospital in Madurai, and she died of nervous attack 7 years ago. The last shot is framed with Neil, Margaret, Freddie, and his family sitting for supper, saying grace, with Rosa's picture hanging outside. The movie ends with a beautiful quote. "Nothing is eternal in this world, Rose, but there is love, compassion, and mercy. And for now, that is enough." And here is the last paragraph. Shyama Prasad's film is a superb cinematic recreation of the drama. It is also an excellent film about memory and nostalgia. The movie renders a new visual dimension to the play. That's the essay. Well, friends, now we come to the last essay question. Question number 27. Discuss the elements of alienation and despair in the zoo story. Paragraph number 1. The zoo story is a one-act play by Edward Albee. It is an absurd play. So, it deviates from the conventional elements of drama. It explores themes such as urban alienation, isolation, frustration, and despair in an artificial, materialistic American society. That is paragraph number 1, the introductory paragraph. Now, paragraph number 2. The play revolves around two characters, Peter and Jerry, who meet on a park bench in Central Park in New York City. An upper middle-class family man in his mid-40s, Peter is a publishing executive. He has a wife, 2 daughters, 2 cats, and 2 parakeets. Jerry is an isolated and disheartened man. He is desperate to have a meaningful conversation with another human being. He intrudes on Peter's peaceful state by questioning him and forcing him to listen to stories about his life and the reason for his visit to the zoo. Jerry tells Peter about his ugly and stupid landlady and her dog. Paragraph number 3. Peter has had enough of his strange companion and tries to leave. Jerry tries to force Peter to move from the bench and punches him. Unexpectedly, Jerry pulls a knife on Peter and then drops it for him to grab. When Peter holds the knife defensively, Jerry charges him and impales himself, hurts himself on the knife. Bleeding on the park bench, Jerry finishes his zoo story. Peter runs away from Jerry, whose dying words, "Oh my God." This is the end of the 3rd paragraph. Paragraph number 4. The play deals with the themes of alienation, loneliness, and despair. American cities continued to grow from the 1950s onwards. Ironically, people began to find that large cities offered a weaker sense of community than small towns did. This social context helps explain Jerry's deep sense of loneliness. The play presents characters who suffer from the lack of tangible human relationships, the sense of loneliness and alienation from the other members of their own society. The suffering compels him to commit suicide. Well, here's the last paragraph. The 1950s, the same period, is often considered the heyday, the best time of the American dream, the American capitalist dream. After World War II, with the boom of the US economy, people also thought that the middle class lifestyle was attainable. However, there were people who were critical of the effect this capitalist ethic on the American culture. Albee shares their skepticism, their pessimism about the American dream. The case of the poor social outcast, Jerry, is not different. Jerry attempts to be included in this world. His sudden action at the end of the play is born out of despair from the realization that the dream is only a bubble, a soap bubble. Well, friends, this is the end of the first university examination on the revised syllabus of appreciating drama and theatre. So friends, take a printout of the notes given down here and you can read it along with this video. So thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Best wishes. Goodbye.